Mike Pence is setting the stage for his presidential campaign announcement this week.
I don't have anything to announce today, but I can tell you, when I got time to announce come this Wednesday, I'm announcing in Iowa.
The evangelical vote could sway the outcome of the Iowa caucuses, and a recent poll has Trump gaining steam, with the group besting DeSantis by 28 points.
Mike Huckabee is a former presidential candidate and governor of Arkansas, and the good governor joins us now. Great to see you as always. How important do you think the evangelical vote will be to determining the Republican primary winner?
Well, Todd, you can't win without it in Iowa. It's very different than you would find in New Hampshire, where it's not a big factor. It's a huge factor in Iowa. But the mistake a lot of the people make who prognosticate these elections is thinking that the evangelical vote is monolithic. It isn't. It's splintered. And there are several different, what I would say, pockets of evangelical support in Iowa, led by various people and movements and organizations. And unless you coalesce them all together, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody just goes in there and takes it all. I suspect it'll be splintered. Donald Trump will still have the largest portion of it because people in the evangelical world, some of whom, they don't care for some of the tweets or some of the statements that he makes, but they look at his record and they say, by golly, he did everything that we wanted a president to do. And that becomes more important than whether the guy sat on the front row of church last Sunday.
Former FBI Director James Comey has a book out right now, so he's doing the TV rounds. Take a listen to what he just said about former President Trump.
I mean, it's this crazy world that Donald Trump has dragged this country into, but he could be wearing an ankle bracelet while accepting the nomination at the Republican convention.
You were a Republican most of your life, but voted for, and you may still consider yourself one, but voted for Biden in 2020. Do you intend to vote for him again, or is there anyone on the Republican side you might consider if it's not Trump?
It has to be Joe Biden.
Has to be Joe Biden, he says, the former head of what should be an impartial FBI. How do you feel about that comment?
Well, he certainly wants it to be Joe Biden because he knows Joe Biden will never do the investigation that needs to be done of James Comey, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and the rest of that cast of characters that disgraced and destroyed the credibility of the FBI. If anybody ought to be in an ankle bracelet, it's James Comey. And he just revealed what we already knew, that he is a very partisan and bitter individual. The guy did more damage to the FBI and to the system of justice in this country than just about anyone ever has. It's really disgraceful. And, I just find myself wanting to turn my head and throw up when I hear James Comey talk about anything because I find him disgusting.
Big picture here, is that not the perfect encapsulation of the deep state establishment Washington with literally their hopes and dreams? Donald Trump in an ankle bracelet and Joe Biden winning another term.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with, let's just keep covering up what really ought to be a serious investigation of whether Joe Biden was getting money on the take from his son's business dealings with foreign governments like China, who is our absolute enemy. That is something that the American people have a right to understand, know, and to have consequenced if it's absolutely true.
Yeah, well, we have that whistleblower document that's headed to Capitol Hill today for Jamie Raskins and James Comer to read. Still, FBI Director Christopher Wray apparently could be held in contempt of Congress because he did not completely fulfill the request of the subpoena. So more to come on that front. Mike Huckabee, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.